When conference play kicks off here, I mean, do you sense that locker room intensity go up a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, for us, the conference is every game matters, but in terms of our position in this league, the conference is what matters most. And for us, everything is just heightened a little bit, whether it be practice, whether it be in the game, on or off the field. Everything is just tightens up a little bit, and the out of conference games kind of prepare us for conference in a way. So for us, everything is a little bit heightened for sure.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like the non-conference games, they was like hype, practice, locker room. But once we get in the conference week, like yesterday at practice, it was like way more intense. Like guys was really focused because like everybody got the same goal, and that's to make it through the playoffs and win a championship.
Does Elon remind either of you of yourselves on either side of the ball with what they can do and what they maybe try to do?
Um, I really don't compare anybody to myself except myself. Like I don't know what these guys think, but I seen like them on film what they could do. Like they got a couple pretty good players on defense. Like eight, he a downhill player. Like he'll come downhill and hit you, but that's about it.
For myself, I also try not to compare myself to other teams, but if I were going to compare, I'd say they come out, and like Coach Huseman was saying, they come out and they try to be physical. They really try and be a downhill team, at least offensively, and that's something I can always get behind and respect. Any team that comes out and tries to play a really physical football game, I think most people appreciate that kind of play. And so I know we try to be a physical football team, and so any team, including Elon, that tries to do that, tries to achieve that, is going to earn my respect.
Coach when you guys are clicking on all cylinders on offense like this, I mean, is that ramp coming off a game like you've just come off? Does that kind of get you excited to get back out there and do it a little more? I mean, is there a little bit more confidence and swagger about the offense this week?
Yeah, I feel like like the previous game we were clicking, but the last game we really feel like we came together as a whole unit. So like we was in meetings and Coach Durden was talking about like this is a hand, but a hand is like individuals. But when you come together, you make a fist, and that's how we felt last game. We all came together.
Coach Beamer down at Virginia Tech used to say whatever Kyle's numbers were last Saturday, 25 of 28 or 24 of 27, something like that. Coach Beamer used to say that's hard to do against air. And to be able to do it in a game, I mean, the platitudes that we've handed him, over and over and over for the last 2.5 years, but what is it like to play with a quarterback who is that on? And how much how much less do you have to worry about or maybe concentrate on when you know that you've got somebody like that back there?
Um, I can concentrate on doing my route, controlling the controllables, but once he's on, he's on. Like I don't have to worry about him putting the ball here, there. I come out my break, the ball's gonna be there. That's one thing I know with Kyle.
Cortrell, the Times-Dispatch had a cover story about JMU and how many of their guys have come down a division, and now JMU is the #1 team in the country. You came down from Temple, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're leading the country in receiving,
Yes.
in receiving yards in the FCS. I'm trying to think of the best way to ask this question, but is it that much easier
Uh,
competing in Division One?
it would I wouldn't
In FBS?
I wouldn't say it's easier. It just when you coming down, you just never play down to your competition. You always just play it as it's another game. Like every game is a big game because it's the next game. So I wouldn't say it's easier. I just still over prepare and things like that in practice.
How early in camp did you know that you and Kyle were going to gel like you're gelling now on the field? I mean, was it pretty quick? Like, hey, this is going to work out pretty well for us.
It wasn't even in camp. It was 7-on-7 summertime. When I first came in, first 7-on-7, because I had to like wait a certain number of days until I got cleared. And then once my first 7-on-7, we just clicked, scored like the first 7-on-7 play, Seam and Cal scored. I was like, yeah, this guy's real.
Is it more fun here than it was at Temple? The way you guys have won, the way you guys have thrown the ball around.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun because we like spread the field a lot more, throw the ball a lot more. At Temple, we like basically like we were trying to run the ball. We like there it's like Temple tough. Like we try to be tough, physical, hard nosed. But here we put the ball in the air a lot more.
It's good for you.
Elon is coming off a big win, and they are facing a team that beat them pretty bad on their own home field last year. Can you tell when you are facing a team that is really ramped up and has a lot of emotion, and especially, like, do you think you'll be able to tell from last year's team to this year's team when you hit the field, and what is it like, and how important is it to set a tone early against a team that comes in with that much emotion?
Yeah, so I guess, and this tails into your previous questions, the part of the reason the CAA is so difficult at times is because you're constantly playing the same people over and over. And so I know these guys are going to be revved up because I've played against them for the past 5 years. And it's funny, 2 years ago when Elon came to us, the last time they started, their offensive line were freshmen and sophomores starting. And the defensive linemen, myself, Clyde, Winston, etc., we were just kind of looking at them and saying, man, when they're older, they're going to be hard to beat. And, I mean, the prediction is coming true. And I can only really speak to their offense and their offensive line, at least as a defensive lineman. They've really come together. Their guys are mature now. They've got a ton of game experience behind their belts. And so for me, it really excites me because I love playing against that kind of competition and the guys that are going to really challenge me, and because those are the best victories. The best ones are the ones where you've earned it over an opponent that deserves to win just as much as you, and you just had less mistakes or whatever it may be. So yeah, for sure. I know they're going to be revved up. A large part because it's a conference game, and we may have rivals within the conference, but every conference team you play pretty frequently, so you know them relatively well.
When you play a team 3 or 4 times and you play the same guy 3 or 4 times, I mean, I don't want to say friends, but do you develop a relationship? I mean, you're beating on each other for 4 years.
Absolutely. I mean, and a lot of me being the old person that I am in this team, a lot of them have graduated at this point. But yeah, for sure. I mean, there are plenty of guys that even outside of football that I have communication with, and whether it be from an offensive lineman on one team or the other, you definitely build some type of relationship, whether it be good or corrosive. And so I know there are plenty of good relationships that I've had come out of this.
Did you know you guys have never lost to Elon?
That's not really something I've ever thought about, to be honest. And that's great, but at the same time, this is the game we're going to play, and I know this is a team that we haven't played before. Just like this is a defense that Elon, and this is an offense that Elon hasn't played before. So I try not to fall into the trap of we've beaten them so many times or they've beaten us so many times that the history will repeat itself because every game is so different.
Hey, Brandon, a few games in, I mean, from the outside, it looks like the transition between Coach Rocco and Coach Huseman has been relatively smooth for you guys. Is that a pretty accurate statement?
Yeah, I think so.
Some results on the field. I mean, you have the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got a lot of really mature guys on the team. And guys at the time, I mean, we're sad to see him go, but they respected his decision. He felt like it was a decision for him, and we were really excited and energized when the new staff got here. And that is just a credit, not to me, but to the guys, especially the younger guys on the team who really bought into the program. They might have been brought here only a year of experience under their belt, not really knowing what's going to happen to me now. Where will I stand with these coaches? That's a big fear, especially for guys that might feel potentially overlooked. So I think the transition has been really smooth. I mean, it's always nice to get guys like Cortrell as well. A football team to me is like a family, and people can come and go from that family, but there's always that kind of concept of like, you're going to love whoever is there. And I feel like it's really been like that for us.